Join us as we cross Canada to celebrate innovative nations leading the way in community planning. Coast to coast, we will explore the 7 C's of community planning: culture and languages, community-driven, nation-based, community engagement, communication, collaboration, connection, and commitment. The Tŝilhqot'in Women's Council demonstrates the critical importance of planning that is community-driven and nation-based. As each of the 6 Tŝilhqot'in communities completed a comprehensive community plan, they agreed that revitalizing traditional governance was key to nation rebuilding. The Tŝilhqot'in National Government then embarked on a nation-based plan that included the voices of communities. From this work, the Women's Council was born.
My name is Angie Stump. I was raised by my mother Mali, my Abbas, and my grandfather Samuliang. Our lifestyle was very traditional. We were always surrounded by elders. Back then, our transportation was always wagon and team horses, gathering food for the winter. The Tŝilhqot'in Women's Council are guided by Sata Asaidan, the Tŝhilhqot'in, the protocol, the laws, and the values. And we are the matriarch, carrying the duties of our mother, our grandmother, our great-grandmothers, and ancestors. It's always been that the Tŝilhqot'in women were treated with high respect. Sakayadi Jilin. The matriarchs are the decision makers. During our ancestors' time, Tudut was the Tŝilhqot'in matriarch. She had great leadership skills. Tudut was the decision maker for the chiefs and the Tŝilhqot'in people. Everyone abide by her values, her laws, and her protocol, the Tŝilhqot'in protocol. Tudut was her Indian name, and it means waiting for the water. She was all Tŝilhqot'in communities had appointed 2 matriarchs from each community to represent the best interests of the Tŝilhqot'in nation. The Tŝilhqot'in Women's Council were put there to carry out the best interests of the Tŝilhqot'in nation. The strength of the Tŝilhqot'in Women's Council is to carry forward the Tŝilhqot'in knowledge in the language, the stories, the songs, the ceremonies, the land, the water. The elder once said, after witnessing the Tŝilhqot'in Women's Council leading, he was so happy that we were going back into our old Tŝilhqot'in ways. Today, the Women's Council are moving forward in our healing journey.
I think a lot of it has to do with the voice of our women. Since we all represent the 6 communities of the Tŝilhqot'in nation, I think when we come together, we're doing the work at the nation level. So we bring in the voices from each of our communities to be able to do the work we do together and create that work in a very positive way from different teachings in our communities. We all have, sometimes it's similar and sometimes it's different, the protocols and the cultural ways of how we do things in the communities. So that's what we bring together at a nation's level together. I think it just works. Sometimes it works when we're all, more than one head is together. And it also builds the relationship in between the communities.
Abananas. Good morning. My name is Dama Stump. I am from Estela, Alexandria Ban. I'm married into that community. My grandparents are from Tŝilhqot'in, Anaheim. My parents' names are Christine and Patrick Billy Boy. My late grandmother and grandfather's name is Henry and Lizzie Dick. Back in colonizations, strategic planning history matriarchs had the leading role, as women's councils are the advisors for the chief of Tŝilhqot'in. We are a group that closes the gap between the communities and the chiefs in decision making. The Tŝilhqot'in chiefs allows us to make final decisions in projects. It is to develop trauma-informed healing ceremonies. I am tired of upholding and defending basic needs for our people. My vision is to have a sustainable future where families are not compromised, to keep fighting for their basic needs. In planning process, we have come up with one goal to embrace mental, spiritual, emotional, physical, and culturally strong people. This will contribute to build on the health and well-being of First Nations or Dene people. A second goal is to develop protocols, practices, promoting values, sharing circle for developing more goals in a setting circle with other women councils of our nation, Tŝilhqot'in Nation.
So, Sitozi Shirley Pat Gale, Klesko Nawale Dene. So my name is Shirley Pat, and I have the honor of being adopted by one of the 6 beautiful Tŝilhqot'in communities, and to be the firekeeper with Angie and Doreen. The Women's Council came out of the words of the people, as Angie so clearly and Thelma so clearly shared, as well as Doreen, that it was the hope of the elders and those living in the current time to have the traditional governance system reemerge, and for the women to lead and to be the decision makers that they're born to be. And it came as of the 6 communities doing their own community plannings, which were brought together at the nation level around governance. And it was from the people, the Dene, the Tŝilhqot'in Dene, that the Women's Council was born. And it was their direction, and through the support of accessing some of the implementation dollars that are available through the Community Comprehensive Planning Funding, that the council was able to emerge. That's what helped it start in 2019 and 2020. And then the ladies, right, through their amazing work and their strategizing and their work planning in their traditional seasonal rounds, have been able to access dollars through the Pathway Agreement. That is a direct agreement between the Tŝilhqot'in Nation and other levels of government, both federally and provincially. And that's what's enabled the women to continue this amazing work that they do, to continue this journey of healing, and to continue to be able to foster the outcomes that Thelma and Angie have talked about, and all of the desires, right, and the things that come from the community and from the people, and to create a table of powerhouse, powerful women who are decision makers, who provide their voice and their advice and their recommendations to the Netzaleen Kai, to the group of chiefs that represent the communities, to ensure that their voice is centered, that the people's voice is centered, and that this journey that they've all spoke about of healing is something that is walked together and supported by their collective time, talents, and tools.
Makes me really proud of the formation of the Tŝilhqot'in Women's Council is bringing back the cultural of, earlier I mentioned that back then we had Tudut was the Tŝilhqot'in woman that was recognized for her leadership, and because of when we got colonized, it got away with that woman power. It's really hard. It's such a difficult journey for us. I cannot say that we have after 150 years of being colonized, of what we went through as Tŝilhqot'in people, We went through the hanging of our chiefs, the residential school, which affects the people today where they're just starting to find our children. We were at St. Joseph's Mission, not too far from here. And, we had 215 children that were found. And then we got another 97 children that were found. We haven't even dealt with that yet. And the search is still continuing on. How could we say we were healed when we haven't even dealt with those things yet? My mother, that many generations, and we're born into it. Today, our children, grandchildren are rebelling because we're starting to see a high rate of overdose, suicide, high rate of drugs and alcohol. Our children are telling us we need to move forward and heal and try to find ourselves in every which way that we can.
We also would like to touch on teaching culture as much as we can, bring in the elders to talk about the basket making, or talking in their language, or showing how they made a dip net, or even talking about the stories of what their ancestors or grandparents, grandmothers did way back then. And communication was always a barrier for all of our communities. Now, as we sit around the circle table, we try to get as much information out that way to our members, whereas before we didn't have that. Now we do. Connecting members come together, the elders, the youth, or the people in general, just to get together to talk. When you see an elder talking with another elder from another community, their face light up. And then they talk about the stories of what has happened in their community, or who they missed, and what they did long time ago when they were together. In our own way, speaking the language, bringing the people together, and who wants to come and join us on that road to healing, to help our people start doing that. When we have those information workshops, trainings, whatever it may be, that we are going to bring to them, or they can come to us. Those are the things that we are trying to work towards. Saja.